On the evening of September 21st, 2019, law enforcement authorities swiftly reacted to a distressing domestic violence call that had emanated from an apartment in Austin, Texas. Deputy Pereira, a dedicated officer serving with the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, promptly arrived at the location. The door he knocked on belonged to the residence of Skylar Leo, a young 20-year-old woman who cohabited with her boyfriend Eric Ramirez. The call, urgently placed by a concerned neighbor, compelled the officers to investigate the situation without delay. Ms. Leo informed Deputy Pereira that Mr. Ramirez had left the apartment and didn't know his whereabouts. She also expressed her unwillingness to press charges of domestic assault.
Look up for me. What's on your neck? What happened?
Nothing happened.
So I have witnesses saying something happened. So are you trying to protect him?
No, I just really don't like dealing with y'all. I really don't want to deal with y'all. I really don't.
Okay. So...
I don't need to talk to y'all. I really don't.
Do you have your ID on you or anything?
No, I don't.
So what's your last name?
Domestic violence laws vary across states, including how abuse is defined, the charges against abusers, and mandatory reporting requirements. In Texas, officers have discretion in making arrests for domestic violence incidents. Despite Ms. Leo's reluctance to press charges, law enforcement and prosecutors can pursue criminal actions based on their investigation and evidence. Texas law emphasizes the protection of domestic violence victims, regardless of their cooperation.
So, were y'all... I'm trying to figure out why your friends called the cops.
What friend?
Or your witnesses, whoever was over here that called us. So what?
We got into an argument.
Okay.
That's it.
Literally. Okay. It was nothing physical?
Nothing physical.
Where are the marks on your neck from?
We got into my necklace right here.
No, this right here. What is that from?
Does it really matter?
Yes.
It doesn't.
To make sure you're okay.
I'm fine, ma'am.
So.
I'm fine. Like, literally, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I get rash talking to y'all. I do not want to talk to you, and especially Williamson County. Y'all have a really bad reputation. I've bad encounters with y'all. I do not want to.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
I know you are not.
Okay, so we need your cooperation.
I know, and I'm.
Do you want to press charges?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Thus, the police had a duty to safeguard Miss Leo's well-being during their response. Deputy Lorenzo Hernandez, previously featured on a reality show, encountered a situation where he tried to enter Miss Leo's apartment. Although Miss Leo protested, the Fourth Amendment allows officers to enter a citizen's home without a warrant under certain circumstances, such as protecting individuals from immediate harm, like in cases of domestic violence. Courts have often given officers broad discretion in responding to domestic violence calls. Based on these precedents, it's likely that a court would find Deputy Hernandez's entry into Miss Leo's apartment justifiable to ensure her safety despite her objection. However, we must also address the legality of use of force in this situation. Deputy Hernandez contends that Ms. Leo's non-compliance justified the altercation and the use of force by the deputies. However, a court would likely disagree, as it must assess the reasonableness of the force used. In the 1989 Supreme Court case of Graham v. Connor, courts considered the severity of the crime, the threat posed to officers or others, and whether the suspect is actively resisting arrest. The 2018 case of Darden v. City of Fort Worth further emphasized that excessive force occurs when an arrestee is not actively resisting. Ms. Leo, a victim not resisting arrest, faced unwarranted aggression. A court would undoubtedly find Deputy Hernandez's actions excessive. Sheriff Robert Shoddy initiated an internal investigation after an altercation, leading to Deputy Hernandez's one-day suspension. Surprisingly, Hernandez was later promoted to detective, but in January 2021, he resigned when former Sheriff Shoddy lost to current Sheriff Mike Gleason. Subsequently, Hernandez faced charges of official oppression and assault for his excessive use of force against Miss Leo.
When she shot in my house, I'm like, well, we gotta find the guy that allegedly did this. So she didn't give direction of travel, description, anything. She's like, he left, I don't know where he went.
Third level Dickerson.
Satisfaction. What's up?
So we need to see if this guy's inside your apartment.
Who else is in here?
She filed a lawsuit against him in the Williamson County Sheriff's Office on September 20th, 2021. Both the criminal charges against Hernandez and Ms. Leo's civil suit remain pending. His actions were unacceptable, rapidly escalating a peaceful situation, showing unprofessionalism and using excessive force.
Went to my apartment. Yo, with what? I'm literally gonna press charges on y'all.
We have a possible felony.
Possible felony?
Yes.
For what? For who? He's not here, I'm telling you.
But you don't know where he went?
I don't know where he went.
Okay.
Like, what?
Yeah, so you handle the couch.
You can understand where you're in handcuffs right now?
So what happened? We were trying to talk, right? That's all we were trying to do?
Okay, so I'm gonna take
Is there
these
a light in
handcuffs
here?
off you.
How do you turn the light
Are
on?
we gonna be cool if we take these handcuffs off?
The light's not on. It's not on.
All right, ma'am. So I wasn't here with information to relate to you. When we come to stuff like this, we're going to check for safety reasons, okay? We're going to make sure he's not here and you're not hiding him. We understand you don't want to cooperate. We can't force you to do that. We get that. We understand that. But you don't do what you just did. Not when we show up for something like this. We don't get your cooperation. That is what happens.
Yes.
Okay?
The deputy's authority to enter Miss Leal's apartment for the domestic disturbance is still debated. Here's our next story of a cop getting fired. On June 26, 2020, a 73-year-old woman named Karen Gardner, who suffered from dementia and sensory aphasia, which impaired her ability to communicate and understand, attempted to leave a Walmart in Loveland, California, carrying unpaid items worth $13.88. Store employees stopped her for leaving, and Miss Gardner tried to offer her a credit card to pay for the items, but they refused and took the items back. Eventually, she left the store. Subsequently, a Walmart employee reported the incident to the Loveland Police Department, and Officer Austin Hopp responded to the call. He located Miss Gardner as she was walking home on the side of the road and pulled up behind her with his lights on. When she didn't stop, he parked his vehicle and approached her. After failing to effectively communicate with Miss Gardner, Officer Hopp grabs her and throws her to the ground in an attempt to restrain her.
Ma'am, police, stop. You want to stop with lights on, siren? Stop. You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? No. Okay. Let's stop.
Miss Garner, visibly confused, repeatedly tells Officer Hopp that she's going home, as the two engage in a brief scuffle. Eventually, Officer Hopp's able to place Miss Garner into handcuffs and lead her back to his patrol car. Shortly after Officer Hopp gained control of Miss Garner, Daria Jalali arrived on the scene. The two officers, Hopp and Jalali, once again forced Miss Garner to the ground. Officer Jalali assisted Officer Hopp in restraining Miss Gardner's feet and placing her in the patrol vehicle. A concerned citizen confronted Officer Hopp about his conduct. Officer Hopp defended himself, claiming he had the authority to use force, but the citizen believed it violated department policy, Colorado law, and the U.S. Constitution.
I'm not going.
Why are you fighting with me? And why are you trying to slip the cuffs off?
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going home.
No, you're not. Are you finished? Are you finished? We don't play this game. You understand me? And if you try to kick me, oh, this is gonna be bad.
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going
Hey.
home. I'm going home.
The Colorado Revised Statutes under Section 18.1.707 require officers to use nonviolent means when possible before resorting to physical force. However, this provision was only added through Senate Bill 20-217, effective from September 1, 2020. At the time of Miss Gardner's arrest, the statute allowed reasonable physical force for effecting an arrest. Despite her non-threatening demeanor, the officer's actions came under scrutiny. In an attempt to ascertain Miss Gardner's identity, the officers questioned her about her date of birth. However, she remained unresponsive and refused to engage with them, showing apparent signs of mental instability.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen? I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen? Who's my sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first, I can tell you that. Sergeant Metzler, he's at the police department. You can go talk to him if you have an issue.
Yeah, give me your card so I can put a report.
Okay.
I see you there, how you throw that little kid.
Little kid?
Well, I don't know.
He's not
if
a little
it's
kid. And this
he
is what happened.
He was just walking, and I see you how
She
you
just
grab him.
stole from Walmart and refused to stop, refused to listen to lawful orders, and to fight me. This is what happens when you fight the police. I have to use force to safely detain her. That's what this is. This isn't just some random act of aggression.
Unfortunately, the officer seemed oblivious to the possibility of her suffering from dementia, despite her exhibiting symptoms of disorientation, memory loss, and disordered speech. The Loveland Police Department's policy on interactions with individuals suspected of mental illness clearly outlined the need for officers to be aware of such behaviors and to establish a compassionate connection while ensuring everyone's safety. Officer Hopp, as seen in the body camera footage, either failed to recognize these signs or deliberately disregarded the policy during his interactions with Miss Garner. After being brought to the police station, Miss Garner was led inside by officers and left handcuffed to a bench where she remained unattended for several hours without any medical assistance. Officer Hopp's use of force resulted in severe injuries for Miss Garner, including a fractured and dislocated shoulder, a bloody nose, facial scrapes, and contusions on her knees. The incident also led to her being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, causing ongoing physical pain in her shoulder, arm, and wrist.
Okay, let me see your feet.
Credit card.
We'll get it.
Oh, my credit card.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen?
Oh, my credit card.
I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen?
Security footage at the station revealed officers Hopp and Jalali revealing body camera footage with community service officer Tyler Blackett, who was seen celebrating the harm caused to Miss Garner. In his narrative report on the use of force, Officer Hopp recounted that upon contacting the suspect, she attempted to flee, leading to her being placed on the ground to ensure safe detainment. The suspect resisted arrest persistently, necessitating the application of multiple controlling holds. Consequently, the suspect sustained minor lacerations to her wrists from the handcuffs.
Yeah, okay.
Hey.
Let's get her down to the station.
Okay, we don't need to wait for the fella.
No, we can see what I mean, we know what's it say.
She stole some stuff, and they caught her before she left and got it back, and then she ran out. So we have the...
And then you contacted her for that.
And then she resisted.
Obstructed and resisted, so...
We're good either way.
So we're good either way,
cool.
She's going.
All right.
Get a free pass. If they decide not to prosecute, I don't care.
Cool. Okay, we'll head down there.
And a small laceration to her chin. Despite clear contradictions between Officer Hopp's account and the body camera footage, as well as Miss Garner's actual physical condition, higher-ranking officers, including Sergeant Metzler, approved the use of force as necessary, reasonable, and within policy. However, the situation took a significant turn when Miss Garner filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Loveland, Officers Hopp and Jalali, and Sergeant Metzler. The case gained national attention when Miss Garner's attorney, Sarah Shilka, publicly released the body camera footage on April 14, 2021. In response to public outrage, Officer Hopp was placed on administrative leave, while Officer Jalali and Sergeant Metzler were reassigned to administrative duties pending an internal investigation. Subsequently, all three officers, along with Officer Blackett, chose to resign from their positions. Now, here's our next story of a cop violating the rules. On January 12, 2023, Officer Jack Lowry of the Bloomington Police Department initiated a traffic stop on Ricky Pouncil, a local resident, as he was driving through the city of Bloomington, Minnesota, on his way back from the gym. The ensuing interaction between them was recorded on Officer Lowry's body camera. Officer Lowry informed Mr. Council that he had been pulled over for driving on the center lane and subsequently documented in his police report that the stop was due to a lane violation and driving at 53 miles an hour in a 60 mile per hour zone as per Section 169.15 of the Minnesota statutes. The statute states that driving at a slow speed impedes normal traffic and it's prohibited unless necessary for safety or compliance with the law. However, considering the vehicle's weight and the highway grade, Officer Lowry's belief of Mr. Council's violation may not be reasonable, as he was driving slightly below the speed limit. Additionally, Officer Lowry claimed Mr. Council was drifting between lanes, which under Section 169.8 requires driving within a single lane unless it can be done safely.
With valid license, everything? Okay. Anytime, man. Okay.
License status valid.
Rental car, pretty distinct reaction to my presence, and then going like 55 in middle lane, and wasn't really cooperative with me at all. Didn't want to tell me where he was going. There's some luggage in the back seat too.
There's what?
A couple bags in the trunk.
Okay.
He didn't seem super cooperative, so I'm just gonna pull him out and try to talk him out here. Ricky, right?
The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld that pretextual stops, motivated by investigating potential criminal activity, are constitutionally valid, regardless of the officer's true motivations. Thus, if the court accepts Officer Lowry's statement about the lane violation, the traffic stop is likely to be deemed constitutionally valid. According to the police report, Officer Lowry conducted a search of the vehicle, finding only vitamin C capsules. Subsequently, Mr. Pouncil was released after being detained for approximately 35 minutes. The incident came to light when Mr. Pouncil's nephew reached out to relay the details. Despite Mr. Pouncil and his family's efforts to report the incident to the city of Bloomington, the Bloomington Police Department and the city attorney, no wrongdoing was found on Officer Lowry's part and no corrective actions were taken. The encounter left Mr. Pouncil feeling marginalized and alienated from local authorities. While Officer Lowry avoided physical confrontation, he inappropriately extended the traffic stop without reasonable suspicion and used manipulative tactics to obtain consent for the search. Mr. Pouncil receives a B+ for maintaining composure and filing complaints, but his ability to challenge Officer Lowry's actions was diminished by consenting to the search.
We kick things off in Texas, where members of the Lufkin PD are handcuffing 33-year-old Tasha Faye Sponsler. After being put in the police cruiser, the handcuffed Sponsler manages to undo her seatbelt. And then, despite officers being near the vehicle, she pulls off a Vegas-level magic trick by, ta-da, wiggling her one hand out of her handcuffs. Sponsler remains calm, looks around, and makes sure the officers are adequately distracted before following up her previous trick with an even crazier encore.
God dang! Stop! Hey! God.
In the midst of Texas, where everyone's attention is focused on Tasha Faye Sponsler and the daring journey that she was on, the officers of the Lufkin Police Department have just finished properly handcuffing Sponsler and are about to load her into their cruiser when an unexpected event takes place. Sponsler first removes her seatbelt, which displays a remarkable level of dexterity, and then she removes her hand from the handcuffs. She makes sure to check around carefully to make sure the police are sufficiently distracted, yet despite this, she has nerves of steel. Then Sponsler plans an encore that is utterly mind-boggling to everyone and would be well at home in Las Vegas. This promises to be an exhilarating journey into a world of bold pranks and unexpected turns, and Tasha Faye Sponsler is set to star as the lead character in this episode.
Help!
As the stolen cruiser shoots back onto the main road, it narrowly misses a row of spike strips. But eventually, the chase comes to a dramatic end. After rejecting a plea deal that would have given her 16 years in prison, Sponsler got the jury trial she wanted. Unfortunately for her, after being found guilty, she was sentenced to a staggering 45 years in prison.
As the stolen cruiser drove back to the main road and narrowly skirted a series of spike strips, the officers who were after it launched into a frenzy of pursuit. The amount of stress that was being endured became increasingly severe with each passing second. The desperate circumstances that the fugitive was in caused her to make a choice that would have severe repercussions. Sponsler was offered a plea bargain that would have reduced the maximum term she faced to 16 years, but she chose to take her chances in a jury trial instead. Her run of good luck had finally come to an end. The judge came to the conclusion that she was responsible for the crime and then stunned everyone in the courtroom by imposing a sentence of 45 years in jail on her. After the spectacular chase was over, Sponsler was left with the sobering awareness that she still had a long and challenging road ahead.
It's 1:15 p.m. at the Ready Mart in Spruce Grove, Edmonton. And this man, 28-year-old Richard Parasow, has just been caught trying to buy a can of soda with a stolen credit card. Police have been called in to arrest the man, but he's not going quietly. After throwing his girlfriend, Brittany Burke, more on her in a minute, onto the officer and tangling with the store's owner, creating an impromptu game of Twister, he breaks free. He takes off towards the back of the store with no shirt and no plan. As the officer takes aim with a taser, Parasow grabs a weapon of his own, a bag of salty snacks. Realizing he's outgunned, he drops to the ground. The officer shows restraint as Brittany Burke approaches near the Pringles. After telling her to stay back, the officer calls for backup, and that's when Paracel makes at least his fourth terrible decision of the day and is pumped full of 50,000 volts. Meanwhile, with the entrance blocked by the owner, Brittany, the real star of this video, makes her move to the back of the store. Instead of trying the back door, she takes another, more daring route. After blowing absolutely any chance of anonymity right here, she crawls past the dusty Christmas decorations and heads for the ductwork and potential freedom. A seemingly good plan until it isn't. After using aisle 5 to break her fall, Burke miraculously walks away and finally decides to surrender. Backup arrives, and both Paracel and Burke are arrested. As the store's owners pick up the pieces of their ceiling, Paracel and Burke picked up 11 charges, including using a stolen credit card, resisting arrest, and assaulting a police officer.
Disarray broke out in the Spruce Grove, Edmonton location of Ready Mart around 1:15. The 28-year-old Richard Paracel was apprehended while attempting to use a fraudulent credit card to buy a Coke. When the police arrived to arrest him, he caused a commotion by throwing his girlfriend, Brittany Burke, who would turn out to be quite the character in her own right, at one of them. The shopkeeper got caught up in the confusion, and before long they had an impromptu game of Twister on their hands. Paracel stripped off his shirt and made a hasty retreat to the store's rear. Paracel dodged the officer's taser by brandishing a bag of salty snacks. Being aware of his inferiority, he wisely lowered himself to the earth. Brittany Burke, meantime, made her move, silently slinking past dusty Christmas ornaments and into the ducts. In aisle 5, her audacious plot to flee backfired as she smashed through a ceiling tile. When reinforcements arrived, Paracel and Burke were arrested, and the store's owners were left to pick up the pieces. Paracel was hit with a whopping 11 offenses, including theft, assault, and resisting arrest.
Taking a more straightforward approach is the alleged suspect caught on camera in this next video released by the NYPD. As she approaches the cashier at this Burger King in the Grand Concourse section of the Bronx, there seems to be nothing out of the ordinary about this customer until she dives across the counter and takes a stab at the open cash register, swiping $250. Going above and beyond the call of duty, additional staff step in. But they don't have the suspect for long. She slides across the counter and makes her way towards the door with no sense of urgency, and with good reason, as she's yet to be caught. But for the staff of this Burger King, they get a moral victory for making sure the suspect walked out both hungry and empty-handed.
When the officer from the New York Police Department approached the cashier at the Burger King located in the Grand Concourse neighborhood of the Bronx, it seemed as though the woman was merely another customer. In a sudden and unanticipated change of events, however, she leapt over the counter and made a vain attempt to get her hands on the open cash register. She accomplished an extraordinary feat for a would-be thief by stealing $250 in a single fast action, going above and beyond the call of duty for a thief. The situation was swiftly brought under control by additional members of the crew, but their efforts to capture the culprit were unsuccessful. She slid back over the counter with astonishing dexterity and then casually sauntered towards the exit, making no indication that she was in any rush. It was probably a little success for the personnel at Burger King when they made sure the suspect left the restaurant hungry and without any of his belongings.
Finally, we're in Lamar, Arkansas, where police are in pursuit of a truck and trailer reportedly stolen by the owner just 10 minutes earlier. An even bigger problem, the vehicle's owner says there's several loaded guns inside the truck. With little progress being made 10 miles into the chase, a police unit is stationed near an on-ramp, about to deploy a spike strip, hopefully disabling the vehicle.
Spikes deployed. They got him. The boy losing a icebox out of the back.
The spike strips are successful, sending a mini freezer flying, but the truck keeps going.
Looks like we got a front driver's side tire, 68 miles an hour, westbound.
Then, 2 miles further down the highway,
He's on the rim. He's about to come to a stop here soon. Just before the Franklin. We're pulling over on the shoulder just before Franklin County.
before the officer can get his car in park, the truck door swings open. It's the moment of truth for this pursuing officer. As the driver exits, they could be concealing a weapon, or not concealing anything at all.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
The driver who just led police on a dangerous high-speed chase is, in fact, a woman wearing nothing but a pair of sunglasses and who knows what on her head.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Police tackle the woman and place her under arrest. The suspect, later identified as 48-year-old Deidre Lewis, was charged with aggravated assault, theft, reckless driving, and fleeing.
Whew. They had followed the track of the stolen truck and the trailer all the way to Lamar, Arkansas. 10 minutes after reporting the theft, the owner revealed a more pressing concern. He said that the stolen vehicle contained loaded firearms. Tensions were high when a police team waited at an on-ramp and got ready to use a spike strip after a 10-mile chase. Success! A small freezer was launched into the air by the strip, but the truck kept on. However, at 68 miles in, the front driver's side tire gave out, and by the time they got another 2 miles down the road, the truck was on its last legs. The cop had his opportunity to act. The truck pulled over to the side of the road in Franklin County, and as the pursuing police officer approached, the door suddenly opened. When the driver finally emerged, everyone knew for sure if she was hiding a weapon or not. The fast command came, "Get on the ground, get down here." It was then revealed that the woman behind the wheel during the high-stakes police pursuit had been wearing only sunglasses and a peculiar headpiece. Officers swarmed in and arrested the culprit, a 48-year-old woman named Deidre Lewis, who was charged with aggravated assault, theft, reckless driving, and eluding police.